you can make your art even better when you develop an idea. So rather than just diving in with the first thing that pops into your head, is that you can experiment and develop stuff and just create something that is going to just be much more meaningful and more purposeful. And this will just raise that level just a little bit. Welcome to Friday Art. My name is Cate Field. I'm an artist, teacher and speaker, passionate about helping people find their creative spirit and open the cupboard and take the paints out of it. You know who you are. And for those of you who are procrastinating because you think, I can't do this, or I've got this idea but I don't know what to do with it, this is going to be the one for you. We're going to take a very simple idea and just see what we can do with it. If you are new here, huge welcome. Huge welcome. This is a very friendly, gentle space. And if you are coming back, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your lovely comments. I read every single one and they're just so uplifting and heartwarming. And thank you. It's just lovely. Right. Are you ready? Because we need to get going with this one because it's going to be good. So I'm going to start with an idea that I did in Doodle Club on Monday, which was using crayons, children's crayons, nothing fancy, and creating these sort of shapes and marks. Because what I want to do is just start off with an idea, which we then develop. The lovely thing about using these sorts of crayons is that they're very quick and easy to use, and of course they're very cheap. I'm just sort of putting down a whole variety of colours here. I'm not really thinking about it too much, and that might work or it might not. That is the whole point of playing with an idea. Seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. So we're just putting down some marks on this page in my little sketchbook. There we go. Like that. Now I'm going to use different types of crayons. These are just children's crayons. Some are thick, some are thin, just to put down some of these marks. Then I've got my little bit of charcoal, and I'm going to put some marks down using charcoal and a bit of tissue like this. So just creating a background, because then I'm going to come straight in with paint. So I am mixing up these elements, and I'm not going to use a brush. I'm going to use my little egg carton. Just going to put some splodges on, because this is just an idea. We're not creating beautiful pieces of art, not just yet. We're just playing. Let's that like that. I just sort of move these around. And then I'm going to leave that one to dry. And while I'm leaving that one to dry, I am going to take another piece of paper using toilet roll, make some marks on this, scrape it across, turn it around. These are the sort of exercises and techniques that I do with my students, and not just my tinies, although my tinies do love they love this. But when I do this with my older students, even those students who are in their late teens and early 20s and so on, just like super, super cool, they love this as well. So do that one. This is a very cheap paper, actually. It's nothing fancy at all. Oh, if you didn't catch my Doodle Club tutorial on Monday, I was using these materials, very cheap, children's paint, children's colouring pencils, children's crayons, because when we're playing with just an idea, you don't want to be using all your best stuff, do you? That's right. I'm going to leave that one to dry. I've got another couple of pieces of paper here, 3 pieces actually. This is just copier paper because I want to use up my paint. just want to use this up. So let's just make some marks and I'll create collage papers with these ones. Like this, move it around, use my other hand. So poster paint and ready mix paint is quite watery. Yeah, it's not like using acrylic paint, but it's very good for playing around with an idea, having a bit of fun, not worrying about anything. Just going to finish off the last bit. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. This is my paper paint. Let's see what happens if I do that. What do you think? Yay! I always love the kind of the what if. And my best students are always the ones that go, what if I did that? What would happen? And it'd be like, yeah, that could make a really big mess. But it could be fabulous, couldn't it? Who knows? Right, I'll leave those to dry. So while I'm leaving those ones to dry, I've gone back to a piece that I created earlier in the week. And using the same techniques of the crayons, so sort of crayons, charcoal, and some chalk over the top to give you that kind of like dusty look. And what I want to do with these is to just sort of try another idea. I'm going to sort of break these up like this, and then just sort of see what happens when we, oh, that's not what I wanted to do, tuck that one under there. When we start to sort of, it's like a weave, see what happens when we weave them, because I quite like this broken up idea. I think that could look quite exciting. Let's pop that one in there. You see that where you've got the textures, and then the textures broken up. So if I get my little viewfinder, I can start to have a look at what that might look like. And it might be, you think, no, it just looks a mess. I don't like it at all. But that's one idea that you could explore. And I do like that. Now, I love working with collage. I love working with layers, putting things on top of each other and seeing what that looks like. And when I talk about developing an idea, when you've got bits of pieces that you've done earlier, then you can just sort of start to rearrange them and see the sort of things that could work, or things that don't. that is the point. Now, I am really liking this bit here. If I use my viewfinder, I can kind of identify certain elements. And I do actually really like that. I like that kind of dusty feel about it. But you know that you can try so many different things. Now I have gone back to this page in my sketchbook, and it's one that I created ages ago in a tutorial on trashing your sketchbook. So kind of like tearing up bits, and I always thought I would like to come back to this, and I think this could be the one where I come back, because I'm quite liking the juxtaposition of these colours. I think they work well. So I'm putting these ideas together here. And then I'm thinking what I really want to do is I need some circles. So you could use a circle hole punch, or you could just do like I'm doing, just draw around a cup and cut them out. Just do that. I like circles. I use circles a lot in my work, so I'm just going to cut those out. So I've cut out some different size circles, and I'm on this very busy background. I'm just sort of moving these around, and I might do some more with those other pieces that are still drying. I always try to do several things at the same time. So if I have to wait for something to dry, then I can do something else. And I've got these strips as well. So I'm just cutting these. I haven't measured it or anything. Just sort of to see. And you see, I'm liking the busyness of this. I'm going to stick those down and then do something else with this piece before going on to the next bit. So I've stuck them all down, and I've started to do some doodles actually in the spaces. And one of the things that I thought would be quite interesting was to explore the organic feel. And they kind of reminded me of rock formations and things like that. So this is a really simple idea. As you put in the shapes, imagine these are sort of pebbles, just sort of putting them in like this. You have them touching each other, and some smaller ones and some larger ones. It's like this. I love this technique. I use it quite a lot for sort of different, all sorts of different things. I mean, these ones are going to look like pebbles and rocks, but with different colours and different sorts of textures, they could look like bubbles or droplets of water. You know, that kind of thing. So you can use this technique in lots of different ways. Sort of putting in the smaller ones to fill in the gaps. And then what you do is you just shade in these background bits. I'm just using a black marker pen here. And you see the effect. I'm quite liking this. I do keep saying that actually, don't I? Oh, here we go. But again, the idea, the whole point of this is that we are looking at an idea and developing it a bit further to see what we like. And it might be that, yep, this is something that you really like, and so you're going to expand it and work on it a bit more, or create a separate piece based on this idea. Or you might think, no, I actually don't like it at all, and completely disregard it. Or, as I frequently do, it would be something that I do like, but it's not something that I want to do straight away. So I'll make a few little notes and I will come back to it. And this is another reason why I love working in a sketchbook, because it keeps all of these ideas together. And even if I'm working on a separate piece of paper, like on the other one that I did, I will still put bits of that piece in a sketchbook, and so I can refer back to it. And I've got sketchbooks going back 20, 30 years, long time, and I do refer back to them. And I think it's something that my students like to look at as well. So I will quite often bring my I always bring my sketchbooks into my classes so that people could just have a look through. Not just because there's lots of different ideas in there, but it's really important that they see all the mistakes and all the things that didn't quite go how I wanted them to go. So I'm quite liking these ideas, and this is something that I might develop further. Now over this side I did kind of a tree type thing. I'm not sure that works particularly well, but you know, I might just sort of pick out some of the shapes here, see what that looks like. But there's lots of things that you could do. You could then sort of multi-layer this with paints, or you're using stencils, sort of prints, that sort of thing. You could just try different things. There's all blocks of colours on there. I'm not sure about that. That bit there's not really working for me. This, I've got a big expanse of space here, so there is room for doing quite a bit more. Right, now let's go back to those pieces that we left to dry. So I've got all of these bits. Remember, that was the plate one. Like that. This was my orange pieces, and this is the one that was in my sketchbook. These ones I will use as collage papers, as backgrounds, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this as a background as well. And I am going to go in with some charcoal, and I like the bright colours with the dark, and I just want to emphasize some of these as well. And I think what I'm going to do is just sort of put some marks in as a sort of quite organic sort of tree type idea using the charcoal. Just some the bit that I've done before is going to be the background. So I'm just seeing, again, I'm just playing with an idea that might work, might not work. Quite like the idea of the sort of organic feel, but it's still quite abstract. Bring that over there. I've just knocked a few things over. So just smudge these out a little bit. I'm going to leave that in my sketchbook, and I'm going to put a little note to say this is what I might do. I might develop that a little bit further. So let's go back to this one. So this was just the poster paint. That's this ready mix poster paint, very, very cheap. This one as well. But it's created a really nice background on which we can do other stuff. So what we're going to do, I'm going to see what happens when we go in with crayon. So using the same colour crayon. Yeah, that's quite fun. What about if we go in with a black crayon? putting in some just sort of abstract shapes. Let's see what that looks like. Again, we're sort of like using the whole page. What happens if I put some sort of scribbly bits on it? It's quite fun as well. This paper is quite textured, and you can see that the texture is coming out, and that has given me another idea. So this is a bit of corrugated cardboard that was packaging for something that arrived. And like I've said before, my husband is very good at asking me whether I want to hang on to things or whether I want to throw them away. And the corrugated is not brilliant, so I really need my graphite and see if that's going to work. Sometimes it works quite well, other times not so good. You see the textures coming out, which I quite like. Yeah, that's interesting. Sort of getting some shapes appearing. But when you're doing sort of rubbings, you can use all sorts of things. Oh, it makes a great noise as well. Oh, he'll go quite percussive, I think. Just putting some of that on there. Let's see what else I could use. I thought I'd use a stencil, so I'm putting the stencil underneath. You see that coming through. I like that. I did a whole tutorial on different ways of using a stencil, so if you haven't checked that out yet, you might like to. Again, that was my graphite. Let's see if it will work with an ordinary crayon. Yes, it will. Yeah, I think this was just too soft. It wasn't rigid enough. If you've got some more rigid cardboard, that will work. This is just a crayon, children's crayon. And that's working. I like that. Let's get another stencil. All right, I'm going to choose this one. I get my stencils from all over the place. Some online, some in my local craft shop. Some I make myself. So I was thinking of doing a tutorial on how to make your own stencils. If that's something that you think you'd like, let me know. I can do that. Well, that's quite fun, isn't it? Look at that. So we have this piece. I do like these textured pieces. I think they're good. That I will definitely use as a background. These I might do some more on. Actually, let's just try something else with this one. Let's pop that on there. Let's get the graphite. The graphite and the wax. Actually, I think the wax is better. Yeah, I like that. And I like that we can just multi-layer it and see what you can do next. So from this tutorial we have this background piece that I will definitely use. These ones that I think are quite fun. And then, oh, just remove some of this. This one with these ideas, and I will do some more with those. I really hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you've got some ideas now that you can then develop. I would love to see what you do. If you'd like to join the Facebook group, the link is in the description. It is a very, very friendly, joyful place. And I'm just a little bit overwhelmed, actually, by the lovely, lovely people in the Facebook group. Let me know what you think, what you want to do, and let me know what else you would like a tutorial on. And if you'd like to see some more, you can look at this one or this one. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.